Hello, my name is Derek from Tomcat Gas Training, and today we're going to look at the installation of a gas fire. First of all, we're going to remove the old gas fire and we're going to do a step-by-step video on how we're going to install the new one. So, welcome to this time-lapse video of the installation of this fire. This isn't a step-by-step, it's just a time-lapse video we've done. So before we actually removed the fire, we went off and did a tightness test to make sure that the pipework wasn't leaking before, and we also carried out a Flue flow test on the chimney, and that was to check the integrity of the chimney and making sure it wasn't leaking. So it's always important to make sure that you've checked the integrity of the chimney before installing a new fire, because you don't want to be installing a fire when the chimney's no good. So we went into the loft, went into the bedrooms, went outside and carried out a Flue flow test. So you'll see that procedure further on in the service video as we're going along. So what we've done here is we've removed the marble hearth and the marble back. We broke up all the sand and cement which the marble was sat on. Now the fire we're going to install on this job is what's called a cartridge fire or a cassette fire. So basically it's going to be set up higher up on the wall, so there's no need for a hearth. So what we've done is we've looked through the manufacturer's instructions and we've found out what our measurements are to install this fire, so we don't have to install a hearth. Now the customer wanted all new carpets throughout and they didn't want a hearth showing. So as you can see here from the video, then we're actually marking out. So following the old saying of measure twice and cut once, making sure we've got everything right. Now I've got 4 trainees helping me on this install for their portfolio. So the guy you can see with the level there is Kane. We've also got Jonathan, Martin and Liam. So you'll see them as we're going along, and they're always stood in the way. So now we've marked out, we can now see that we're breaking up the wall using all our PPE equipment. Now there was a lot of dust, so we made sure we sheeted everywhere up first. We're wearing all our PPE and removing the brickwork. So this took quite a long time, and we actually, believe it or not, burnt one drill out doing this and broke one of the chisels. With there being 4 guys working on this fire with me, they all wanted to get stuck in and they just forgot that the drill was that hot they couldn't pick it up. So they've ended up burning a drill out, which I wasn't too chuffed with, but there you go. So you can see there Kane's busy breaking up the wall. We've now got Liam having a go, smacking out the wall, and you can see this is quite an important part of the job. Now obviously we're now putting a lintel in there. Now the lintel is there to hold the rest of the wall up. Now technically this lintel is just to make the opening look nice. The actual wall is retained just above where we broke out the wall. There was lintels anyway, so we're just putting this lintel in to give it a nice finish and make sure the plasterboard's got something, or the plaster's got something to stick to. So you can see I've foamed in and I've used fire foam, and we will be sealing the inside of the fire as well as the outside, so the foam won't come in contact with any heat. So you can see now we've just bricked up the front part of the fire. I'm now just installing the new pipework, so we've had to alter the pipework inside the fire opening. So we'll install the new pipework, and then we'll go off and do a tightness test. And make sure that all the pipe work's correct, and then continue to brick up. So bricked up on the outside of the wall. We also ran a brick wall up on the inside because we were doing a base basically. So what I'm doing now is framing out for us getting ready to plaster. And what I'm doing now is I'm showing the guys how to rough the wall out. So you can see they're all having a go. Liam's having a go there. So the guys get to see the full procedure and get to have a go. So that's the main thing about the portfolio, is they all get to have a go at doing it. Again, Kane's there having a go at roughing out the plaster. Now we've got Martin have a go. So I wish they could do it that quick when we were doing the job. So I'm helping them out there, roughing the wall out. So you're not just a gas engineer, you end up being a general builder when you're installing these kind of fires. So if you have got brickwork experience and plastering experience, it always comes in handy when you're installing this type of fire. So you can see there I'm busy roughing the fire in. So there's a nice close-up of the fire, half roughed in. We just got off to mix some more plaster. So that's what we're off doing at the moment. We're now going to be coming back in now and finishing off the rest of the roughing in. Now, after I've done the roughing in, I actually stayed behind and completely re-skimmed all this chimney opening. So the customer got a nice finish when they come to decorate it. So instead of just patching and making good, I actually completely re-skimmed the full chimney breast, which made it look a lot neater and a nicer finish. Not that you can see much at the moment because I think that's Liam's backside in the way with Kane. We stood in the way, told them keep out of the way of the camera, but no, they insisted in standing in front of the way so you can't see what's going on. So that's nearly finished now on the roughing. So we're just waiting for this roughing coat to go off before we start skimming up and doing our final finish coat. So the plastering does take quite a long time. It's the longest part of the job is actually plastering the wall out because you're waiting for the roughing to go off before you do your final top coat. So like I said before in the beginning of this video, I did stay behind after they all had a go at doing the skim coat to completely finish off doing the plastering. So we're on day 2 now, ready to do the install. So like I say, we'd already done all the Flue flow tests and checked everywhere. You'll actually see the Flue flow test being done in the service. So we're just installing the pipework now on the fire, just checking and making sure everything's level. So before we fit the framework, so we've got all the framework to put in now. And then we can start building up the fuel bed, putting all the logs in and the vermiculite, following the manufacturer's instructions. I'm actually drilling the frame to the wall there now. So it's all fixed in. So that bit stays in permanently, so it's supposed to make the fire easier to get out. You'll see on the service it isn't that easy to get out. A lot easier to put in than it was to get out. So we're now fitting the logs, putting all the vermiculite in the bottom. Customer getting in the way there in the background. Kane doing all the reading. He's the intelligent one. Just fixing the glass on now. It's the glass what makes it efficient. So let's get some tests done. So now everything's done. They're just doing a spillage test, and let's have a look at doing the service. So we're a year on now for this service. You're going to see more of the checks we did. We did all the same checks when we did the install. So we're going to do a Flue flow test, well, visual inspection first, Flue flow test and a spillage test. We're going to gas rates, we're going to do tightness testing. We'll do standing pressure, working pressure at the meter, working pressure at the appliance because there's no burner pressure on this one, and the spillage test. I didn't already say spillage test. So we're just removing the framework for the fire. So this was held in with about 10 screws. You can see I'm just removing them. Yes, Derek, there's one in the middle holding it all in. Don't forget the one in the middle. There you go. So I'm just taking the fire out of the hole. Now this was a faff. It was a pain getting it in. It was bigger pain getting it out. So good job there was 3 of us again to remove this fire. So it's telling him to get it out of the way. So Eduardo's legs are in the way again. He's always in the way. Look, get out of the way, Eduardo, you're in the way. So the first thing they're going to do is a visual inspection. As you can see, they're using the phones rather than looking up. So if you do look up, you need to wear glasses, so they're trained to use a mirror and a torch, or actually take a photograph and use a mirror so they can see up the chimney. So that's what they're all doing now. Once they've done that, they're going to pre-warm the flue up. Now the regs say about warming the flue up before you do a flue flow test is use a match first to see if there's a pull, but we always get rid of the middleman and we always warm up the flue for 5 minutes first before we use a smoke match to see if there's a pull. And then once we're happy we've got a pull, then we'll use a smoke bomb. We won't use a smoke bomb until we know we've got a pull. So just getting rid of all the debris off the top of the fire there. Now this debris is soot basically. So the soot on the water is very acidic. So it will rot the top of the fire away. So if you're not a gas engineer and you are seeing this and you're a customer, this is what your gas engineer should be doing. You see the doggy in the way there. So we're just getting rid of all the debris out of the bottom of the fire opening. This is all come down. This is when we had the bad weather. They did hear some debris fall down the chimney, and it was, luckily enough, it was soot. So this isn't the first gas appliance what's been on this flue. They'd already had 2 fires on there beforehand, so technically you should have it all swept. The dog's in the way again, look. So he's going to give it all a whack out now. Customer trying to get rid of the dog. So got to get all this acidic soot out. The next thing we're going to be doing is warming this flue up using the blow lamp. So we're going to warm it up for 5 minutes. Then we're going to use a match to see if we've got a pull, and then we're going to do a smoke bomb test. And the smoke bomb we'll be using will be making smoke of 5 meters cubed over 30 seconds. Eduardo's just checking the actual opening now, so as long as it's with the manufacturer's instructions for his portfolio, just making sure we actually installed it correctly first time, making sure the depth is okay. He seems happy enough. No, he's not. He's back again, measuring again, so just measuring the height now. There we go. I'm just putting the blow lamp in to warm the flue up. So we'll warm this flue up for 5 minutes. Now when they do the smoke bomb test, it's not just one they end up doing about 5 or 6, because we need to go into the loft. We need to go into the bedrooms which the flue goes through, and we need to go outside, and they took some photographs as well. So there you go, we can see up the chimney now. You can see it's all sealed and where the heat's going to create this pull. 5 minutes is a long time when you're waiting for a flue to warm up. So we've had the 5 minutes now. Now we're going to try a smoke match to make sure we've got a pull. So say he's going to light the match, check it's pulling, so you can see all the smoke's going up. I don't like the way he's doing that though. They're not trained to do it like that in the centre. They're trained to use a piece of copper which we bend over the end and do an angle. He must have been taught by one of the engineers he's going out with the wrong, well, technically it's not the wrong way, it's just the way we don't train them. So he's now going to be using the cup with the smoke bomb in. It's 5 meters cubed over 30 seconds. And make sure that all the smoke is drawn up into the fire, well, the flue, not the fire. So like I say, this was done quite a few times, so we could check outside, we could check in the bedrooms, we could check in the loft. So again, if you're a customer rather than the gas engineer watching this, this is what your gas engineer should be doing when he's checking your chimney, that you've actually got a pull and it's all going up and it's not coming out in your bedrooms and it's not coming out in the loft. And it is coming out of outside and it's not coming out of next door's chimney pot, and so these are all the tests we need to do. So everybody seems to be happy with the Flue flow test. I'll get rid of everything out of the way. We can start thinking about getting this fire back in. Get another tightness test on, get it warmed up, and then carry out the commissioning tests. So we will be gas rating the appliance. We will be doing standing pressure at the meter, working pressure at the meter, and we'll be doing working pressure at the appliance. There's no burner pressure for this fire, so we'll be looking at all the tests to the manufacturer's instructions. So again, this is a proper faff getting it back in. So let's cut this down a bit and nearly there. Again, so glad there was 3 of us and there's a pair of legs in the way again. Stop standing in front of the camera, but no, they still stand in front of the camera. Okay, we're in, we're done. So we need to get it all connected up and they're going to go off and do the tightness test. Technically I don't have to do a tightness test, I could just spray the compression connection, but we like to train them so they know when they're going home that they haven't left any leaks, because leak detection fluid isn't that good for finding leaks. So they can do a final printout for the portfolio as well to show that at the end of the job they didn't leave any leaks. So it's not the best. It was a very, very expensive fire this, but not the best fire to fit. Alright, faff. So that's the gas connected up and they've gone off and did all the tightness tests. So they're doing a spillage test. So he's doing a spillage test all wrong because I'm not in the room. So you'll see I'll come back and tell him what for, because he's doing it wrong. So I don't know which one of them came up with the idea of that's what the holes in the end of the cup are. Well, technically they are, but they're not trained again like that in the centre. They're trained to use our match holders because it doesn't direct the smoke very well, these. And you'll see that when he lights it, how much smoke goes past the fire rather than going in. So he lights it, watch what happens. See, most of it goes upwards and it doesn't give him a true reading of whether it's spilling or not, but you can still see it's taking the smoke up there. I think you'll see I'll come steaming in a bit, and because I went checking their gas rate, because it did come back at wrong and they had done it wrong, because they were using a smart meter and it had 4 decimal points on the end instead of well, we only use the last 3. So there you can see I'm showing them and I get a bit nacked with them. I actually say to him, do it properly or don't bother at all. You see they're looking a bit sheepish now. And you can see Saeed there, he knows he was wrong. So he even does this wrong. Can you see? You can tell I've gone out of the room because I've done it. I've told him how to do it, and he still did it wrong. So he's just taking pictures for his portfolio, and you can see the smoke's going up now into the chimney. So I hope you've liked this video on the install and service of a gas fire. If you want to see any of our other videos, why don't you go to our YouTube channel, where you can subscribe and hit the notification bell and enjoy those videos. So thanks for listening, thanks for watching, speak to you soon, cheers.